Hello, and welcome to Songwriters Spotlight, the Western Mass Songwriters Collaborative Series. I'm Dr. Dan, your host of the show, where we feature Western Mass songwriters who perform their original songs and talk about the art of songwriting. Stay tuned to explore more about music and the tunesmithing that creates it. Our guest on this episode is Paul Kaplan, whose lyrics and musicianship create great romantic, topical, and tribute songs for our enjoyment. Here's Paul Kaplan.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to start with a song that is a little nostalgic, this being the first day of spring, and it's called I Will Keep You Warm. When the chill from Canada comes tearing south, over empty fields up to your doorstep to kiss you on the mouth, I will keep you warm. I'll keep the fire burning, keep you dry in the storm. When winter is returning through the fall, I will keep you warm. And you say you're insulated pretty tight, but the flickering of your candle has revealed you in a slightly different light. I will keep you warm. I'll keep the fire burning, keep you dry in the storm. When winter is returning through the fall, I will keep you warm. So I'll hold you tightly as the wind attacks, and the summer of my kindness will protect you and fill up all the cracks. I will keep you warm. I'll keep the fire burning, keep you dry in the storm. When winter is returning through the fall, I will keep you warm. My love will be like brandy wine when you are cold. Let me take your cup and I will fill it with as much as it can hold. I will keep you warm. I'll keep the fire burning, keep you dry in the storm. When winter is returning through the fall, I will keep you warm. Well, happy spring, everybody. Well, that was a song about the weather and love and the affliction that comes around with great regularity. And I'll follow that with a song that's also about, takes place in winter, in June, beginning of winter in the southern hemisphere, specifically Falkland Islands in 1982. And this is a song about an affliction that comes around also with all too much regularity. The bitter snows of June across the deck are thundering like bullets from a gun. For 7 frozen weeks, this soldier has been wondering, will I ever see the sun? Now you can call me Pete, or you can call me Pedro. What's the difference in a name? One leader calls them Falklands, the other says Malvinas. To them both, it's just a game. They say it's war, war, war. It's just another war. It's not the end of the world. But if there's one too many wars, then there won't be any more. No more wars, women, men, boys, or girls. Oh, the politicians cheered and waved us into battle for the national pride. But they never breathed the smoke. I heard the cannons rattle, or took a bullet in the side. No, they say it's war, war, war. It's just another war. It's not the end of the world. But if there's one too many wars, then there won't be any more. No more wars, women, men, boys, or girls. Governments, flags, borders all are fleeting. In an hour they disappear. But somehow the drums of war never stop their beating. Year after bloody year. And they say it's war, war, war. It's just another war. It's not the end of the world. But if there's one too many wars, then there won't be any more. No more wars, women, men, boys, or girls. They say it's war, war, war. It's just another war. It's not the end of the world. But if there's one too many wars, then there won't be any more. No more wars, women, men, boys, or girls. That's the way it is. So another enduring subject is love. And this next song is a love song. And I'll probably have to tune a little bit, having moved the capo up a bit. Well, I'm an old man now, but still I'm able to channel my youth, and this is one of those songs that does that. It's called If I Had Half an Acre. If I had half an acre, I would build a little house with floors of terracotta and windows facing south. I would plant a garden full of food and flowers too. If I had half an acre, I would build a life with you. If I had half an acre, I would never ask for more than just to see you greet me when I walked in the door. I don't need a mansion with $1 million view. If I had half an acre, I would build a life with you. I would cook you breakfast and put the honey in your tea. Maybe we could raise some children to keep us company. What's the use of riches when you're living all alone? A pocket full of diamonds is just a pile of stones. Every day's a treasure when you have a love that's true. If I had half an acre, I would build a life with you. Every day's a treasure when you have a love that's true. If I had half an acre, I would build a life with you. I had half an acre. So we're going to go back to the harmonica here. And this is, let's see which one is it. Here's a song about another enduring affliction, and that is love and actual lust for money. So this was written around the time of the Reagan administration, and some of you might remember Gordon Gekko from Wall Street. Greed is good, he said. So I put on my Gordon Gekko hat and wrote this song. Which is appropriately called Money. Hasn't gone out of style, this this affliction, has it? All right. Get up close here. Your life is out of sync. Your mind is on the blink. You don't know what to think. Think money. Your hippie days are through. You don't know what to do. Well, here's a tip for you. Make money. You used to live on love when that was in fashion, but the times have been a change, and now there's a different passion. Money, 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 money. Victimize the needy. Go ahead, be greedy. It won't give you VD money. Just like the politicians, take the ethical position, except on one condition. Money. There only is one key to a life of wealth and splendor. No matter how you get it, they call it legal tender. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Go round, what makes the lost ones found, what buys flesh by the pound. Money, it's your patriotic duty. Get filthy, rich, and snooty. To hell with truth and duty. Money, you'll think that you are rising to the very highest level. So won't it be surprising when you run into the devil? Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. I hope you felt my passion. Okay. It was April 19th, 1976, when one of my heroes and many people's hero took his own life, and that was a man named Phil Oakes. And oops. And soon after that happened, I wrote a song in homage to him. He was a big influence on me, and a lot of people, clearly. I think maybe the first song I ever performed in public, it would have been about 1966 or 7. Hard to believe. Was I Ain't Marching Anymore. I went to a picnic. I was invited to sing at a picnic for the Wobblies, the International Workers of the World, which I was delighted to do. I sang this song. And actually around the same time I was invited to put together several albums, posthumous albums of his music. This is called Phil, for Phil Oakes. Phil, what went wrong? Why are you quiet now? Phil, where's your song? I really need it now. You kept me warm throughout the storm, but now I feel a chill. Phil, I miss you. Phil, you were not mad, just fool enough to care. The love you've always had. You always had to share. You never knew the good you did, and now you never will, Phil. I miss you. Phil, here's farewell. How I wish you could have stayed to help me understand, to make me unafraid. I dreamed I saw a golden bird outside my windowsill, Phil. I miss you. So, as you might be able to see, I have a bit of a topical song bent to my writing, and I'm going to do a very topical song now. This was my response, which took a long time to come together. My response to 9/11. So it came together right around the first anniversary, 9/11, 2002. I lived in New York when they were putting up the World Trade Towers, and I wasn't there when they came down. But I did always have that connection with them. This is a very strange tuning. It's going from one strange one to another one. So ideally, this will be in as much as tune as the last one, or better. So this is called After the Fire. After the fire, the tears fell like rain, where tall trees had stood. There was nothing but pain, a forest of green was turned into ash. The world that we knew disappeared in a flash. After the fire, we gathered around, searching for signs of life on the ground. The earth looked so bare, as dead as can be. But something was there that nobody could see. Slowly a seed under our feet started to stir, woken up by the heat. sent down a root to help it hold tight. It sent up a shoot to reach for the light. Seedlings will grow, trees will stand tall, so we'll always know how far they can fall. But nothing can kill the will to survive. After the fire, there is so much alive. Seedlings will grow, trees will stand tall, so we'll always know how far they can fall. But nothing can kill the will to survive. After the fire, there is so much alive. After the fire, there is so much alive. So that's a pretty serious song. A hopeful song, I hope. And I'd like to follow that one with another hopeful song, which is going to use this harmonica. And this one I wrote for the woman who would eventually become my wife and is still my wife at the time that she moved in with me. And okay, that should not be backwards. I've tried to play it backwards when I make that mistake, but it doesn't usually work very well. So we'll put it like this. The high notes are on the right. Okay. So this one's called We Shall Stay Here. And so I've sung this at weddings, I've sung it at funerals. A lot of my songs have a similar theme, which is, I guess you could say, well, life is a bitch, but let's make the most of it. I never put it quite that way before, but that's pretty much my attitude. This was an empty space until our love appeared. Now that we found our place, we shall stay here. If we can sing in tune, even the stars may hear sounds from a tiny room, we shall stay here. Out of the earth we sprang, I know, into the earth we'll go. But till our voices break, harmony but still our voices break. Harmony hides our fear under the love we make. Love we make. We shall stay here. We shall stay here. We shall stay here. We shall stay here. And I'm going to stay here and do one more song. And this song is When Love, as sometimes happens, rarely, but it sometimes happens, it just doesn't go right. So this is a sad love song called Take Out the Garbage When You Go. You tell me that you're leaving, that our love has lost its glow. Though you were once my Juliet, and I your Romeo. But before you break my heart in two, there's one last thing that you can do. Take out the garbage when you go. Take out the garbage when you go, when you go. It's an awful lot to ask of you, I know, yes I know. But these filthy bags could spread disease, so I'm begging you on bended knees to please, 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 please. Take out the garbage when you go. You saved every reminder of the good times that we shared. The bananas that we peeled, the apples that we pared. You say our love's gone sour, but I think it's just the cauliflower I gave you once to let you know I cared. Take out the garbage when you go, when you go. It's an awful lot to ask of you, I know, yes I know. But these filthy bags could spread disease, so I'm begging you on bended knees to please, 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 please. Take out the garbage when you go. Now we're standing in the doorway to say our last farewells. My eyes are filled with tears, my house is filled with smells. Our love was sweet as lobster meat, the kind you always used to eat. Now's your chance to throw away the shells. Take out the garbage when you go, when you go. It's an awful lot to ask of you, I know, yes I know. But these filthy bags could spread disease, so I'm begging you on bended knees to please, 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 please. Take out the garbage when you go. One more time. Take out the garbage when you go, when you go. Oh, you've been saving it for many years, I know, yes I know. But these filthy bags could spread disease, so I'm begging you on bended knees to please, 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 please. Take out the cabbage, don't forget the cabbage. Take out the garbage when you go. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Those are the songs that I will give you today. There are many more, and we'll get to talk about them a little bit in a few minutes. Thank you.
Paul, that was a great set. A lot of variety, a lot of feeling, up and down, and great musicianship. Thank you for that. And you got topical songs, romance songs, tribute song.
Thank you.
It was very enjoyable. Thank you very much for that.
Well, since we'll be talking about songwriting, it's funny that I'm not one of those writers who sits down to write every day. And I've been doing it for about 60 years. And so I've got, a lot of songs in that time, but someone who does it every day, they'd have thousands. But something has to really grab me. And when it really grabs me, the song wants to be written. And then the rhymes, sometimes, not always, but the rhymes fall into place. Mm-hmm. And it just, it's almost, and people talk about this a lot, it's almost unworldly that the song just wants to get out there. And so the songs you just heard were songs that some of them took longer than others, but they were all something I had a deep emotional attachment to, and I hope one can see that when they see me perform them. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. You could tell by the performance that you were well connected to those songs.
Even the last one.
Yeah. So the earliest songs that you did, why were you writing those? I was going through a really interesting time in life. My parents had gotten divorced a couple of years earlier, and I moved to Chicago with just my mom. I went to a new school, and everything was new. And I picked up the guitar, which I was already 16. I hadn't played guitar, and immediately it clicked. And I would not say I was practicing, I was just playing. And going through those changes and being in my middle teen years, there's a lot that you want to say. And I've never been good with what you call the elevator retort. I think about things till it's way too late to say them. But as a songwriter, I was able to say those things, taking my own time. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed that when I started trying that. I said, I can say what I really feel, and it doesn't have to be rushed out by the time the person has left the room. And I found that I had a certain talent. My parents are both English teachers, and so I was raised to say things the right way and pronounce things the right way and speak clearly. And all that went into singing and writing. Now, I've never really discussed this before, but you asked the question the right way. And I had an affinity to be able to fit the words and scan them in the number of beats I had, mm-hmm. Which is pretty important as a poet or a songwriter. A lot of poets don't bother, and some songwriters don't bother, but mostly you do in a song. And so I just found that I started writing, I guess my very first song was a parody of Bob Dylan's Dream. And I was very disappointed with his fourth album that had just come out, where he was talking about his love life. And, he was bearing the flag for the generation, and suddenly he's talking about nothing but his love life. And, many of us, millions of us were disappointed. And I saw something about, while riding on a train going down, he started thinking about troubles of his own. I hadn't worked out the perfect rhymes at that point, but that's all I remember of that song. And so that was, as many people start out with writing parodies. You take a tune they know and they put their own words to it. And I did some of that, but then I realized you could use that same phrasing and put your own tune on it. And so for these 60 years, I've done a lot of both, actually. As a songwriter, my best known songs actually are ones that were sort of folk processed. In fact, I did a whole CD called The Folk Process, where I have Call Me the Whale, which is a song based on an old whaling tune, but it's from the point of view of the whale. And so it's got the same tune and some of the same words, even the same refrain. And Henry the Accountant, which is a song about the story of John Henry, but it's an accountant taking on a calculator. and that was just really fun. And they're songs that, at least when I wrote them, my audience was familiar with them. And I still, if it's my peers, they'll be familiar with John Henry and even the Greenland whale fisheries, where the first song is based on. So I've written a bunch of parodies, and people seem to appreciate those.
But I often come up with my own tune, more often than not. And I did go to music school where I learned, I went to Hunter College in New York. Took me 10 years to get through college because I wasn't quite ready at first, and then I was searching for the right situation. And in New York, the city universities were really good. I'm sure they still are. And they were free. And I ended up at Hunter College studying music theory with a fantastic, the last theory teacher was Louise Talma, who I didn't know, but she was a well-known composer. And she put us through the paces, and it was amazing. You know, all the basically Bach's theory and his ideas about harmony, and we used to have to write 4-part harmony. They'd give you the melody, and then you had to, and that would be in soprano clef, and then you'd have to put alto clef, tenor clef, and bass clef. 4 different parts that followed all these arcane rules. Well, they were wonderful rules. They were the ones that were established before Bach, and he sort of codified them. And by the way, Guy Davis was in that class. I don't know if you know Guy. Yeah. So there were 4 of us, Guy Davis, me, and a romantically involved couple. And for a whole year, we did this advanced theory and contrapuntal technique with Louise Talma. And I use it every time I write a song. I think, where's the peak going to be? Like in After the Fire, it goes up, and then it builds, and there's a certain drama. And that's what I aim for. It's some sort of drama, even if it's a verse after verse song. I want that would be a song where I just want the lyrics to get to a sort of a punchline, or maybe a lot of punchlines. But I mean, people put down music education, but you know, for songwriters, but it's not a bad idea.
Well, I never would have guessed.
Yeah.
It all sounded just perfectly natural, like it came right out.
That's the point.
Yes,
that's the point.
Yeah, very nicely done. So what's your big motivation for writing songs? To get the feelings out?
Mostly, yeah. I mean, I write songs about topics that are in the news or that are protest songs sometimes. I don't expect to change anybody's mind. I do hope that the song will help people feel closer to the community that feels the same way. And I think that's really important. My grandfather was a Lutheran minister. And people, I'm told, I never met him, I'm told people would come from all over to hear him preach. And I think that's in my DNA to preach to the choir. I don't mind at all preaching to the choir. I love preaching to the choir. So it's something that always something I feel strongly about. Sometimes it just gets started by a phrase that I think of. And I think, boy, that would be a good way to start a song, or that would be a good title for a song. But I'm kind of lazy. I don't work as hard at it as many songwriters do. And luckily I haven't had to make a living at it, although I've made more than most people who pick up the pen to write a song make in royalties. But that was sort of luck and networking. And so I feel very blessed because I've written songs that are in books, are sung around the country, even around the world, by thousands of people in a couple cases. And to me, that's immortality.
There you go.
Yeah.
So were there people who inspired you to, besides your professor, musicians or others? That
was all. That was inspirational, but yeah, I mean I grew up in a household that was very left wing, so we had those old Mo Ash, I think they were called disc or dot records or 78s. We had Woody Guthrie, we had the Weavers, Pete Seeger, and then Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee. I was lucky to have two older sisters who were really into folk music, and they would get all these fantastic records, and they'd play them endlessly. Jack Elliott, Joan Baez, and some of the ones I just mentioned, New Lost City Ramblers, and it just sort of went into my psyche as. I guess I did, the Weavers was live albums from Carnegie Hall, their famous concert on Christmas Eve after they'd been blacklisted. And they just bought out the hall and filled it. To hear that audience response, I guess I was not a terribly happy young person. And I think hearing all those people cheering was kind of, people cheer when you sing a good song. I don't remember thinking that. Objectively, but I'm sure that went into my thinking about being a performer. And I did in high school. I did a little acting too in the drama club, and it was really fun being on stage. So, did I answer your question? Oh, the influences. Well, then later on, as I started playing guitar, I would hear Tom Paxton. I'd hear Phil Oakes and Len Chandler and Puffy St. Marie. Oh, fantastic. Janice Ian. These people all went in here and came out in what I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I'll tell you, I never, I always thought there are a lot of people who imitate Bob Dylan. Anything like this, yeah, really. And I always thought there's another level where you can imitate Bob Dylan. And this may be very trite, but write a good song. That's imitating Bob Dylan. Write a song that knocks people's socks off. Imitate Tom Paxton. Make them laugh. Make them cry. I don't have to sound like Tom Paxton, but if I bring out these emotions in people, that's imitating them, because that's what they do. That's at the highest, deepest level. That's what a good songwriter. And Carole King. I don't sing anything. I don't write anything that would sound anything like Carole King or Paul Anka or any of the songwriters that I heard growing up. But they wrote damn good songs, and every word meant something, and every nuance. You wouldn't have a word that was ambiguous, that maybe it meant this or maybe it meant that. No. It went this way, and it sent you straight forward into the next word, and the next line, and the next verse. And I've tried to be really, really precise. And if it's going to have two meanings, make it count. Like I have a song, "I need you like a foot needs a shoe. My soul is all worn through." Okay, well, that can mean two things, but they both mean connect the same way. The one's, obviously literal, your shoe, but to not let something like that go off in two directions and really push it forward. So it means it just adds to the song rather than just being there to fill in space. So I guess that's a long answer.
Right, you work hard on your words. Do you do a lot of editing?
Oh, a huge amount.
Yeah.
A huge amount. And I have on my computer, I'm working on a song now about Charles Kushner, Jared's dad, who's quite an interesting, dreadful character. And I wrote a bunch of versions, and then I started counting, and now I'm up to 19. And I keep track of them because sometimes I go back. I keep them all. I probably should get rid of the old ones, but eventually. But I do a lot of editing, and I recently joined a songwriter group with some people who are really, really, really perceptive, and that's making me write more, which is a good thing. But yeah, I'm pretty particular about the words, and I'm really, really into. I read Christine Lavin's memoir, which she calls it, and she's really into perfect rhymes, and she comes from, she's more of a, she's a songwriter like me, but in the folk field, but she's really got a big Broadway bent, and in the Broadway songs, the Sondheim and the Harold Arlen and all the great, Yip Harburg, their rhymes are just so amazing, and sometimes they'll make up words to like in a playful way, which I've done too, and but they're always, it's just, each word, as I said, goes to the next word, goes to the next line, and it just pushes you forward. You know, you'll see, I've gone to probably thousands of open mics, and I can tell right away if the song has grabbed me, because you grabbed, and you listen to every word. And there's songs that just, they lose you in the first line. And there's just nothing there to make you want to keep listening for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And you can, the wheat separates from the chaff pretty quick. And I try to be more wheat than chaff.
Well, that's a good goal to aspire to. So you've done a good job of describing your songs. Let's see, and your writing process, you say you pick up on words or you get a feeling about an event or so on. Are there other things that get you started on a song?
Well, a song will remind me of, how can I say this? Something happens will remind me of a song, and then that song, how do I put this? With parodies, I'll say, oh, we could say it that way, and it would be more current. Like, I probably will never write this, but there's a song, there's a wonderful podcast by Stuart Stotts does, which is about singing in groups called How Can I Keep From Singing? And you probably heard the song, How Can I Keep From Singing? I'm trying to find a way to write the song when da-da-da-da-da, when this happens. And when I watch the news, how can I keep from screaming? But it hasn't really happened yet, but it might, because I think it's a pretty good idea. But it's going to be a lot of work, so I'm not sure. I might be too lazy to do that one. But anybody out there, it's up to you. Take that and run with it.
What do you recommend to other songwriters, would-be or current songwriters? Any suggestions that you have?
Well, write a lot. I should say that I did write a lot more when I was younger, and I don't know if it's because I've said what I want to say in a way that I write less, but I think especially young people, they have so much angst and so much going on in their lives, and they'll write poetry. A lot of people write that poetry, or if you have and write those parodies. Put your poetry to some form that you see, that you're familiar with. Write a lot, but write from the heart. Don't write because you think people are going to love it. Write what you want to say, and if you've said it right, they will love it. Listen to a lot of music. There's so much music now that so many different styles, and it's so diffuse. But you'll find your particular place where you like to hear that music, and then if it's hip hop, maybe the music is not so important. Although obviously people sing doing hip hop, but if it's whatever it is, go there and listen to a lot of it and people you admire. Mm-hmm. And I was going to say that the time where I was most productive was the time that in the 80s, when I was living in New York, there were different clubs around town, coffee houses in basements of churches, and I was playing at a bunch of those. And at one of them, somebody told me, you should go down to the Village. It's really hopping now. There's a lot happening with songwriters down there. And this was the early 80s. And finally, I did. And there was an open mic every Monday night at Folk City. And I pledged that I would go there every Monday that I was in town, which was almost every Monday. And I did. I went there, and I heard what people were doing. And hearing it live is a little different, obviously, from hearing it on records and any kind of recording on TikTok and Instagram. And I got to know some of the people, and then we set up our own club It was Angela Page and Jack Hardy. Jack Hardy was a leading influence on a lot of people down there. He was really good, and he had a lot of albums out, and he was an organizer. And he and his wife Angela found this disco place and that wasn't doing that well, and convinced them to have us do music 7 nights a week. And we did. And the first year I did every Thursday, $1 night. You come in, pay $1, and you'd hear 4 or 5 acts. And it was up to me to find the acts, which wasn't that hard because I knew a lot of people, and there were a lot of people around who wanted to play. And we developed we had our own open mic, and we would often get to do a few songs in different situations. We developed our own stagecraft. And then after a couple of months of that, Jack Hardy said, let's make a record album every month. All these great songs people are doing, let's get them out there. And 12 songs every month, the Fast Folk Musical Magazine came out for $2 and had a magazine stuffed in with lyrics and articles. I did some interviews for that, interviewed people. And that got the music out. So we had a scene there. And there was also, before the open mic, there was Cornelia Street Cafe. I mean, this takes me way back, but it was really seminal I am still answering your question. Get yourself involved in maybe songwriter groups or places where people do new songs, open mics. And Cornelia Street Cafe every Monday had people coming down and writing with songs they'd just written, ideally 1 a week, which I never lived up to, but it was the most productive time of my life. And so I was just putting out my first album, Life on This Planet. And by the time 1985 rolled around, I had enough songs for another album, enough songs that I really, really liked. And a couple of them were like Take Out the Garbage When You Go, really begged for an audience. And another one, I Had an Old Coat, which is the one that's gotten me most of the royalties. And that needed an audience response. And some of them, a lot of the others had choruses. So I said, let's do a live album. It's speakeasy. And people said, you just can't do it. It's too noisy and the piano's not going to be in tune. We made it all work. We did every song twice and then edited, spent a lot of time editing. But I was able to round up some amazing musicians. Kenny Kosek, who was an incredible fiddler, later on went on tour with Jerry Garcia. He backed up Don, a bunch of people, Steve Goodman and Willie Nelson, a lot of people. And he was there mostly before this had happened, but he already was well known. And he did some amazing work. And my friend Larry played the Northumbrian bagpipes, which are the ones you can play indoors. So bellows blowing. And I had my good friend Robin Greenstein back me up on singing. I'm saying this all because that's the album that just came out. We recorded this live album, and it was an LP only, and it sort of summed up what had been going on for me for those last 3 or 4 years. And I think that was the night of the recording was my most memorable, clearly the most memorable and high point of my musical career so far. but it was by being immersed that way, that to answer your question, immerse yourself with other writers and listen to a lot of writers, and see what happens.
And that's the kind of thing you get in a writer's group as well, right? Well,
because you have the date, they're coming up that month, that week, that day, and literally I'll be writing up to the time when we have our little Zoom meeting. And you could do it on Zoom now, which you couldn't do back then. A lot of people do it in person, and which has a lot to offer. But Zoom works too, and you put your lyrics up on the screen, everybody can look at them, and that is really a great thing to do if you want to pursue your writing. Yeah, my wife's she's a fiction writer, Lisa Kleinholtz, and she's been going to the same writers group for probably 35 years now, and they've all gotten published. I would recommend that highly. Yeah.
So anything else you want to add about music, your music, or writing?
Well, paulkaplanmusic.com.
Okay.
All my songs are on YouTube under Paul Kaplan, Kaplan. Paul Kaplan Topic would get you to them. And I'll make 0.00001 cent for that, but that's all right. I'm doing the music to get it out there. And that was the thing about the King of Hearts album. It was sitting there. I recently discovered a whole box of the LPs, and they're just sitting there staring at me. They're like saying, "Let us be heard, let us be heard, let us be heard." And I looked at it, and every song are songs that I really love, and many of them I still play. And I said, let's just do it. And I got the Kickstarter plan, Kickstarter going, came in exactly at the budget that I needed. And because it costs money, even though the tapes are still there, but it still costs a lot of money and publicity, et cetera, et cetera. So, and I've done a fair amount of publicity, interviews on the radio and getting it out there to radio stations, which is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And in February, it was number 3 in the folk DJ list, which amazed me, artist and also album. So I'm really, now the record, now those LPs look at me, thanks, Paul. So that's been what's going on, and what moving forward. I've got on my website I have 50 songs. They're all available for download if you want to do that. And they're 50 songs that I really, really can stand behind after all this time. And as I say, I still sing a lot of them. And there are other good ones, but these are the ones that I put on record and now CD. So yeah, that's probably the Paul Kaplan story.
Okay. Well, let me add another thank you for a wonderful performance.
Oh, thank you so much.
Delighted to have you here today.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our show. I would like to acknowledge the support of the Western Mass Songwriters Collaborative, promoting the original music scene in Western Massachusetts. If you want to learn more about the WMSC, go to their Facebook page. Thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Dan. I hope you'll tune in again for the show that puts a spotlight on songwriters.